directed Getfund, right? Hello, very good morning. Welcome to the Mega News, the 6th news coming to you live and direct from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estates. My name is El Samuels. The news is also live across our social media handle, MBN 360, Facebook, YouTube, X, and TikTok. But first, the headlines. Government has announced plans to recruit 7,000 teachers across Ghana as part of efforts to strengthen education sector. The Ghana Revenue Authority is set to launch an integrated tax system starting April 1, 2026. On the international front, South African Army has officially been deployed to several parts of the country to help overwhelm police clamp down on violent crimes, including illicit mining and gangs. The President, John Dramani Mahama, has directed the Ghana Education Trust Fund, Getfund, to release funds for the completion of the Ghana Awards House.
The project, a 5 million Ghana cedis two-story administrative facility for the head of state award scheme, was initiated in April 2021 under the previous administration but remains uncompleted. It is intended to serve as a headquarters for the Youth Development Program. Speaking at the head of state award ceremony on Wednesday, April 1st, President Mahama reaffirmed his commitment to completing the project.
For 70 years, this initiative has molded global leaders, innovators, and change makers. In Ghana, it has become a symbol of hope, discipline, and transformation. As Chief Patron, I reaffirm my dedication to completing the Ghana Awards House. I remember the promise I made when Mr. Sintima Bwaji led his team to my office. I haven't forgotten. Indeed, I've instructed the Getfund to provide us with the funding to complete the project. This award house will be a lasting symbol of this legacy and our investment in the future of our young people.
Government has announced plans to recruit 7,000 teachers across Ghana as part of efforts to strengthen the education sector and address staffing gaps in schools, particularly on underserved communities.
According to the minister, the application process will officially commence on April 10, 2026, when the recruitment portal is open to eligible applicants. The move is expected to provide employment opportunities for thousands of trained teachers, while also improving teacher distributions across the country. Over the past few years, concerns have been raised about disparities in teacher development, with many rural and deprived areas facing acute shortages, even as trained teachers in urban centers struggling to secure placements.
Justifiably, there has been strong calls for government to provide employment opportunities for recruitment of teachers across the country, in particular to serve the deprived and underserved areas in the provision of education across the country. Education remains a key priority of President Mahama's research agenda. Government intends to invest heavily in education, in its infrastructure, and in the provision of learning resources and learning materials to improve the delivery of our education system. Government is also mindful of the growing unemployment in the country and the growing demands of young people for employment opportunities. I'm also well aware that in the last couple of months, a number of students have graduated from our colleges of education and other institutions of higher learning that specializes in the development of teachers. I am happy to note and announce that the Ministry of Education has received clearance and approval from the Ministry of Finance for the recruitment of teachers across the country. We will be recruiting at least 7,000 teachers. 7,000 teachers across the country. We want the process to be open, transparent, and competitive. Therefore, graduates from the 2023, 2024, 2025 cohort may apply for placement to be teachers across the country. Priority will be given ready and willing to serve in those deprived and served areas like Sanguli in the northern region or Dambai in the Ochi region and other areas that we have noted there are significant gaps and deficits in the availability of teachers.
The President, John Dramani Mahama, has addressed concerns on LGBTQ issues during a dialogue with a civil society organization, emphasizing that whilst these issues are sensitive, they are not on the nation's most pressing challenges. The President, John Dramani Mahama, concerns on LGBTQ issues during a dialogue with a civil society organization emphasized that whilst these issues are sensitive, they are not the nation's most pressing challenges. He stressed that LGBTQ plus matters should be addressed through democratic processes, adherence to Ghana's core values, constructive dialogue, and the rule of law. The President Mahama also reflected on the withdrawal of his honorary doctorate by Lincoln University, noting the incident underscores the need for continual engagement, mutual respect, and thoughtful handling of international reactions.
Ghana remains dedicated to upholding human dignity, equality, and safeguarding vulnerable groups. We are aware of ongoing national and international conversations around rights, freedoms, and social cohesion. Regarding LGBTQ plus issues, it remains a highly emotive and sensitive issue, even in the most advanced liberal democracies. I explained during my recent engagement with the World Affairs Council that it's not the most important issue we face as a nation. We're still grappling with the provisions of basic needs of education, healthcare, jobs, food, clothing, and shelter. Nevertheless, the private members' bill introduced in Parliament has sparked a complex and sensitive national conversation. Our position is guided by our Constitution, respect for human rights and dignity of all persons, and the need to preserve social cohesion. While there are strong and differing views within our society, we believe that these issues must be addressed through democratic processes, our core values, dialogue, and the rule of law. I'm also mindful of reactions from our international partners, including the recent developments such as Lincoln University's withdrawal of their honorary doctorate. These developments underscore the importance of continued engagement and mutual respect, and of situating our national decisions within our constitutional and cultural context. Ghana will continue to uphold its democratic values while engaging constructively with the international community.
Away from that, we move straight to the business desk, where the Ghana Revenue Authority is set to launch an integrated tax system starting April 1, 2026.
So you will notice that since beginning of February, we have announced the introduction of the Publican AI to complement and support the work our customs do. We are also at the moment piloting a system called Sentinel that will also help us to digitally identify VAT cross-border transactions and ensure that the revenue that comes through cross-border transaction can also be collected. But on a very important note, we are also automating the overall platform that we use for collecting revenue at the domestic level. We call it the ITAS, and some of you have heard of it before. We've worked so tirelessly over the last 9 months, and ITAS is going live 1st April 2026.
From the business desk, let's do some African story, where South African Army has officially deployed to several parts of the country to help overwhelm the police clamp down on violent crimes, including illicit mining and gangs. President Cyril Ramaphosa earlier this year announced the deployment of 2,200 soldiers to 5 of the country's 9 provinces hardest hit by criminal activities. Authorities say the deployment, set to run for a year, is aimed at restoring order to crime-ridden areas, but critics warn that using the military in civilian policing rarely delivers lasting results. Illicit mining and gang violence are major problems in South Africa, which has one of the world's highest murder rates. According to the latest crime statistics covering the period between October and December 2025, around 71 people were killed each day. An initial group of soldiers was deployed to several parts of the Gauteng province, which includes Johannesburg and March. The second and the main cohort will help operation in the Eastern Cape, Free State, Northwest and Western Cape province from April 1st for a year. The BBC spoke to several residents in Johannesburg suburb El Dorado Park a few weeks after soldiers arrived in the area. It is one of the 3 Johannesburg suburbs targeted in initial military deployment due to the high level of gang violence there. So away from the African story in South Africa, we go straight to the weather center. I'll bring you the weather update. Welcome back on from the Weather Center, brought to you in association with the Ghana Meteorological Agency, the 24-hour impactful base forecast for Ghana. Now we're looking at the temperatures, also we're looking at a summary of the weather, where the weather over Ghana this morning will be mostly cloudy with mist and fog patches forming over the forest mountainous area in the early hours. Sunny conditions with occasionally cloud cover would dominate areas as the day progresses. However, thunderstorms or rains are expected to affect portions of the middle and transitions from late afternoon into the evening. The weather for the next 24 hours, the coast will experience a minimum of 23 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 33. Forest 23 degrees Celsius, a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius. Transition 22 degrees minimum, maximum 35. Northern sector a 24 degrees minimum and a maximum of 37 degrees. And that does it for this morning's impactful base weather update for the next 24 hours. You're still listening to the Mega News at 6 live and direct from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate. But before we take leave of you, let's take a second look at the stories making headlines. Government has announced plans to recruit 7,000 teachers across Ghana as part of efforts to strengthen education sector. The Ghana Revenue Authority is set to launch an integrated tax system starting April 1, 2026. On the international front, South African Army has officially been deployed to several parts of the country to help overwhelm police clamp down on violent crimes, including illicit mining and gangs. And that brings us to the end of this morning's Mega News. The 6 for more news, log on to MBN 360. We want to say a big thank you for those staying with us across all our social media handles on MBN 360. Up next is the sports update.